You don't have the ability to pick Rubik anymore, which of course versus a team like Undying, Saberlight Enigma is always a looming threat versus Viper versus Abaddon. I'm sure he would definitely be up for it. So if D2 Hustlers don't have that idea sort of in the back of their minds, we might sort of see them struggle. And they're going to pick Broodmother up here, so they are just going to send it. They are going to rely on Devilama having that, well, sort of broken hero. We've definitely seen it to better effect in some of the other regions, but now if you're Undying, you do have this issue. How are we going to deal with this Broodmother with our last 2 picks? What are we going to do? Saberlight Enigma might not be on the table anymore, but okay, he's going to go Pango instead. Is also very, very good hero versus pretty much everything on Hustler's side.
Yeah, definitely going to give them really a little bit of everything they need: mobility, lockdown, AoE damage as well to try and deal with the Brood and those Spiderlings. So certainly not a bad choice for the Undying side, someone that can be maybe a little bit dynamic to pair up with that Morphling as well. So to be honest, I like it. It's not going to be maybe as conventionally tanky as some other options in the pool, but against the D2 Hustlers lineup, I'm not sure you really need to be overly concerned about having that conventional tank. I think something maybe a little bit more aggressive and faster pace can still work out pretty well for them.
And stylistically, it's exactly what I didn't think they would want. It's sort of the opposite end of the spectrum where now you have this Viper, you have this Broodmother. I would love to see D2 Hustlers ban out Wind in case they do try to flex up that Morphling, even though Morph versus Brood isn't the best lane. But at the same time now, this is a style that we haven't seen D2 Hustlers really be successful with before. Even though the one game they did pick Brood, it was pretty much uncounterable. There was a Sven in the game. He didn't get to play versus her very much. And Silken Bola actually causes quite a bit of issues when you can't purge it off easily. So really, I am slightly worried for the Undying side. That's why we see that Sven banned out, just because it is a little bit annoying. It forces the Brood to play a little bit differently. But at the same time, they should win 2 out of the 3 of their lanes. Even though Broodmother, you do have to give it a little bit of time. But once you hit that level 6, it should be off to the races. And besides that Pango, you don't have very good hunt heroes for that Broodmother. You have the Rubik, you have the AA. Once they hit their level 6, maybe she's going to be under threat. But the Shadow Shaman 1437 should play that style where we see him sit back, stack his camps, go for those water runes, go for those real runes, and that leaves Devilama alone a lot of the time, but that does mean he gets that level 6 just a little bit faster than everyone else, and I think that's going to matter really just more than anything, because if this Pango at the other side, on the other side of the map, if he is able to get his 6 a little bit too quickly, Viper, Brood, Shadow Shaman, all of these heroes are incredibly vulnerable to Saberlight, and they decide not to split the bans, so there is still that win, there is still sort of that counterpick potential from Undying, but I guess we'll have to see, because it feels like they are missing a Tomato hero. Even though we've seen him playing the Morph before, it does feel like we are sort of digging into that hero pool, and we'll see what he's playing in just a sec here.
Yeah, very much capable of playing the Morphling, but I don't know. You're sort of alluding to it. I'm kind of feeling the same way that Bryle is more likely, yeah, to play the Morphling here as Undying go in for that final pick, and it will be the Naga Siren. So this hero almost kind of coming out of nowhere in recent times. The increase in popularity for that Naga Siren has been honestly a little unexpected in terms of some of those massively farming hypercarry type of heroes, but Undying are going to go for it, and for the most part, we've seen that Naga Siren in recent matches in this event have maybe not guaranteed success, but enough to make you feel at least somewhat comfortable with it if you're Undying.
And it just punishes the lineup now. The D2 Hustlers, when they slam the Broodmother, it kind of tells you everything. Because now we will see that the Naga is going to have a lane. She is going to go up versus that Broodmother. And she is one of the more well-equipped heroes to defend her camps. Those illusions are pretty obnoxious. Broodmother doesn't like to deal with those multiple targets. You only have one Silken Bola, and while you are able to, or unable rather, to purge the Spiderling spawn, I believe, you're going to be able to dodge at least one of them with that mirror image. And this is a very different hero. This is the first time we're seeing PA, so this is going to be a little bit risky. And again, this sort of shifts your lineup around where now D2 Hustlers are going to have to wait. You have this Battle Fury hero. There's no Magnus in the game. The game is going to, or sort of has to extend. So D2 Hustlers, they're planning to drag this out. They're planning to fight versus this Naga going into that 35-40 minute window.
Yeah, that is the thing that you I think really hit on that. Kind of makes me feel the most, I guess we'll say, nervous about this PA pick. Normally we do see it sort of paired up with someone that can sort of accelerate it a little bit, and Yuma's not going to have that kind of backup. So it is going to come down to really how much farm can the PA get, how quickly can something like that Battle Fury come out, and will Undying be able to do anything about it? If Yuma farms up well, then, as we were sort of talking about before, D2 Hustlers should be able to win maybe 2 of these 3 lanes, and if all goes well for them, they're in a pretty solid spot, but that is going to be dependent on them actually being able to sort of take that control early. As you mentioned, the Naga Siren kind of shifts maybe the balance of power in that safe lane for Undying, so it certainly makes for an interesting situation. I don't know. The odds still favor Undying, and to be honest, I think I lean more towards them as well, but we're going to have to see. All comes down to execution at the end of the day as we get Game 1 of our first playoff series officially underway.
Yeah, and you have to be incredibly cautious if you are D2 Hustlers. You need to identify the active heroes that are going to be coming out from that Undying side, whether or not it's trying to shut down Brow just absolutely hard, or trying to give Saberlight the worst time possible. And I think really, with the way that they've drafted things up, the hero that is really the most capable of doing that is 1437. We're going to need to see the Shadow Shaman get active, get out on the map, find out who he needs to shut down, maybe delay their timings. And Undying, they do have very fragile heroes. They do have heroes that can 100% get punished, where maybe Saberlight goes in a little bit too deep, immediately gets hexed up, gets shackled, get bursted down. And that's where Moon Meander, he needs to have perfect positioning. He needs to always be in that position to save his teammates versus this Shaman, because unless Bryle is sitting there with an adaptive strike ready to go, there is no great way to break that shackle. It really just is the lift or the Song of the Siren. Everything else is really relying on you getting your spells off before D2 Hustlers are ready. And if Undying can get that initial jump on you, they can catch you off guard. Their lineup is perfect for that. They are amazing burst damage on all of their heroes, and that's something D2 Hustlers need to worry about position-wise with, let's say, your Abaddon, where if Abaddon doesn't get that save off, he just sees his teammate die, he has to sit there and watch. It's going to feel pretty bad.
Yeah, very much a situation where if you're D2 Hustlers, you need to either have insanely good reaction times, or you need to be the team sort of dictating where and when those fights happen. If Undying are allowed to be the ones sort of making that first move and taking the initiative for themselves, it is not impossible, obviously, but it might be a bit of a struggle. So we'll see really how quickly D2 Hustlers try to play this one in terms of the tempo. They, to this point in the event, have not exactly been a fast team. As you mentioned, in their wins, most of the time, they do sort of drag things out, sort of around that 35-40 minute minimum kind of time frame. So they have not exactly been the team to embrace that sort of 20 to 25 minute all-in push, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they can't be more aggressive than their opponents across that time frame. Just because they're not sort of going all in for the early victory doesn't mean that we won't see them at least try to swing things in their favor, especially with both the Naga Siren and the Morphling on the other side of the matchup needing some time to sort of build themselves up.
And with this Papatuti Viper, you should be able to do well versus this Morphling. You should be able to find the punishment. Again, maybe learning from past mistakes. Bryle having a lot more region, a lot more stats this time around. Not as close to that bottle as he probably would like, but should hopefully be able to play around, live in this matchup. And we see a lot of heroes hovering mid. I don't think they would have wanted to swap up those lanes, but, well, they're fighting for these runes, and Pendago sniped it out.
Just able to get in there on the ABBA, so that is still going to be a 2-2 split, but kind of interesting that they go for maybe the more aggressive maneuver for that rune. But at the end of the day, gold should basically even itself out. Maybe these D2 Hustlers heroes have to use a little bit of regen early, but I don't think that's going to be too big of a deal. Pendago actually just straight up comes to lane with 2 full stacks of tangos and a salve, so he knew something was going to be going down, and he was ready for it. As we get this lane underway, taking a look sort of at that bottom lane first. Yuma just going to be sort of focusing on his own last hit count here. Pendago, meanwhile, just trying to push in with that early aphotic shield, just be as annoying as possible. Kind of standard stuff for that ABBA, but might want to be maybe a little bit careful in this lane. Moon, if he gets that sort of telekinesis up relatively soon into the swashbuckle play, they could do some damage to Pendago if that aphotic shield is sort of down for the count.
Yeah, and up until Pendago gets that Curse of Avernus, that's when Moon needs to be very cautious. He's going to be even more annoying. Moon actually missing the pull there. Don't think he wanted to pull necessarily, but this Pendago Abaddon, it's going to be very obnoxious without having the boots up on Moon Meander just yet. He's only about 100 gold away. It's still something that he has to be a little bit afraid of. He has to definitely respect it, especially Yuma. He can get a lot of
Yuma's
right
gonna
clicks
go
on you.
in. Okay. That is a
No
fair bit
curse,
of
though, so this
damage.
kill probably not going to happen.
Right. Pandago was honestly a little bit out of position there as well. If he got in earlier, maybe the Aphotic Shield could just sort of time out for the damage, and actually considering how low Moon Meander is right now, that might have gotten him the kill, but the benefits of hindsight, right? Pandago didn't really know at the time that that was really going to go down that way, so didn't have any means of being in position, but now Saberlight, you are taking a fair bit of damage. He is going to back himself away. Swashbuckle actually came through, but most of the damage actually applied before the Aphotic Shield was applied, so timing is ever so slightly off for Pandago, but Yuma, he's got the tangos. He's going to be just fine, and now well, Shield's on him for another second or two, but he's not able to get in close enough to do that damage.
That's something Pendago's been really good about, is getting the shield off the moment Saberblade goes for that swashbuckle, so the damage doesn't feel like it's really there, there's not that much harass coming out onto your PA, and you've been able to get a few of these ranged creeps, so just very clean Abaddon play.
And right now, looking for the pull as well, trying to get that lane a little bit further back equilibrium-wise, so we'll see, presumably, things sort of push back a little bit. Meanwhile, elsewhere on the map, 1437 and Divine Llama, I mean, they're trying to do what they can here, but Tomato is not exactly going to be an easy hero for them to lock down. So far we see that, we see that Naga Siren sitting at about 10 last hits, and sort of farming up in the jungle a little bit here as well. So once 1437 has some further levels, once we see the Hex and the Shackle sort of coming into play, maybe this turns into a different situation. But for now, it's all about just sitting here and trying to get Divide to level 6 as quickly as possible.
Yeah, and we'll see him maybe mess with Dubu, trying not to get that small camp off, no wards or sentries out there to block any of those camps, but again, you're happy if you're this Broodmother, you're having a pretty good time. Dubu actually pretty nice there. 1437 doesn't have boots, so he gets a little bit of a pull going, and now the wave is going to push into Tomato, who is also having a pretty decent time. It's a little bit hard to last it up versus that Silken Bola when you do have to use that mirror image just to get the damage out, but he's making it work. He's Naga. He's going to have time to recover if he does get sort of pushed back in his own lane.
Meanwhile, down in the bottom lane, Yuma sort of
On mid?
middle lane, yeah, Yuma was pushing forward, but he's not going to go for the kill. Bryle, though,
Oh.
certainly will in the middle lane. Pushing in onto Papa Tootie gets him with really just the level 1 adaptive strike, so he is able to make that one happen. Papa Tootie was just a little too low on HP and didn't have any bottle charges left, so Bryle's able to sort of get the better of his opponent there. His first blood will go Undying's way.
I wasn't going to mention it, but 10-4 to 24-14, Bryle is giving Papa Tootie the water hands here. It is not even at all. And Bryle's going to pop his 6 so much faster than Papa Tootie, actually. This is really a disaster for the Viper. You don't want to fall behind in this lane. And, ooh, bottom.
Okay. Able to get onto
That level 2
Pandago at
swash.
least.
Yeah, he's got to blink out. And at least he does have that ring of health, but man, oh man, that mid lane is just disastrous for them.
Yeah, Papa Tootie's not going to have a real fun time. I think he's like a level and a half, or 1 full level behind the Morphling right now. But even that is pretty bad. As Bryle,
Oh,
okay,
he's
going in again.
The 6.
Okay, not going to commit fully for that, but that's a fair bit of damage he's able to just do almost casually in that situation. Papa Tootie just really not in a great position to hold his ground right now. So this one is already starting to shift pretty significantly across the first couple of minutes. Bryle just really seems to have control of this lane.
And the issue now is who comes mid to now shut down this Morphling? Because 1437, with the way that he likes his 4, he has boots coming out now, but it feels like with the lead that Bryle has just gotten from being good is going to be a little bit too much. And yeah, they try to make an attempt on a divide, but he just walked away.
I don't know if that timing works out. They tried for the cold feet into the ensnare, and it didn't quite go down the way they wanted it to. Divide was able to sort of walk away before that cold feet procced to stun him up. So I'm not actually sure if they could make that happen with a level 1 ensnare, but it was at least worth a shot. Divide sort of forced to fall back a bit, so that's going to count for something. Meanwhile, we see Pandago sort of rotating his way mid. The Viper is presumably kind of given up on this lane a little bit. You see him rotating into the jungle for now, so don't know if this is just to try and catch up a little bit or if he's making the full transition, but the fact that the Ab is sort of in the middle lane to soak up experience in the meantime sort of suggests that Papa Tootie's going to be gone from this lane for a little while, and while he's gone, Bryle and Dubu are trying to get some damage in onto that tier 1.
Yeah, they can always glyph it as well. We'll see if they end up having to, as they've been tanking for this creep pretty nicely.
Windmeander's coming in here as well. He's got the
Pandago's
telekinesis.
just gone.
Yeah, that's not going to go too well. Pandago gets dropped there. Moonmeander able to find the kill, and Undying, first 3 kills of the game sort of on the board for their side, so they've got to be feeling pretty confident right now, especially considering all of this is coming off the back of a successful mid lane play. Bryle is just sort of leading the charge at the moment, and they're going to try and maybe carry over some of that success elsewhere, as you see Dubu and Moonmeander starting to make their way down bot, going to try to put some pressure back in onto Yuma, but Yuma, he's jumping in first. Moonmeander's a little bit low. Telekinesis will buy him some time. Saberlight in with the swashbuckle, and now Yuma, you might want to back up here. The Aphotic Shield's going to absorb a lot of this damage, but Saberlight is in with the shield crash, and with that Orb of Corrosion, they're actually doing a little bit of extra to Yuma. He's going to be forced to just fall back and pop the salve, so he is going to be healing up here, but now you've got 3 heroes in the bottom lane for Undying. They're still looking to make a move in the creep wave.
Oh, he just popped 6.
Creep wave's going to start to push in. Saberlight, he needs the mana. He is waiting for it. Just a few more seconds, and he will have the Rolling Thunder. Yuma already jumped away. That leaves Pandago here alone under the tower, so they'll simply take that kill, as Saberlight will get it. But now, this is a ready-made push. You take a look here. They've got a full creep wave, and the siege creep was taking some damage, but still alive. So they can get some serious damage in onto this tier 1, maybe even finish it off.
And look at top. Ooh, Tomato. He just barely let him free. And actually, Tomato needs to be a little bit careful.
Yeah, I don't know about this one. He might want to back off. He does have level 6, but he didn't actually skill up the ult, so he's
just dead.
Yeah, he's going to get run down. Okay. Ooh. That, a bit uncharacteristic there with that one. Lets 1437 sort of out of his sights, and then doesn't fall back as Divine Llama is able to sort of win that 1v1. So Tomato takes a bit of a tumble there, and that's going to be the first kill of the game for the D2 Hustlers side, as that one really does turn. Felt like 1437 should have been taken down.
Oof.
Instead, it's a kill going their way, as, back up top. Yeah, Saberlight, I don't know if you want to be here. He's sort of faking out the Rolling Thunder. He is going to have to use it, though. He's way too low on HP, as he's going to try to roll himself away, and I do believe he's getting out of this one, unless 1437 can maybe keep him close enough.
Interesting.
This feels risky. Yep, there's going to be the Hex. Saberlight trying to get away. 1437 not able to hit him up with a shackle, but I don't know. That, as I said, felt risky. Don't really think he needed to be that close, but at least he's able to get out.
And it really just feels like space created. They finally are going to get this tier 1 tower top. Now we're going to see Tomato move over to Yuma's lane, and this is sort of the issue with D2 Hustlers lineup, where because Papa Duty had such a bad time, now Yuma has to be in this bottom lane that's just going to continuously get forced in by the Naga Siren. Tomato's going to get the entire jungle, his entire triangle, and Yuma will have to make a pretty hard decision. Do I stay for the creep wave? Do I farm my own jungle? Do I try to kick my Viper out? Because the Broodmother is not leaving top. She's going to keep her feet anchored in there up until she probably has that pipe, and then we might see her make that rotation mid. But all of this comes at the cost of when will Yuma get this Battle Fury. He's completely greeted out for it. He's got no items aside from the Clawing Blade working into it. So while he will be able to get it, I think, maybe in that 14-15 minute mark, the farm, I just don't think is going to be there around the map. He's going to need to have his teammates sort of pushing into the Undying side. Otherwise, everybody's going to start stepping on each other's toes. And that's where Undying, their lineup's going to feel a little bit more concise, a little bit more useful.
Yeah, this is just a problem that's sort of exacerbated, as you were saying, but sort of by that slow start. Now they've got multiple heroes sort of trying to make use of relatively limited space on the map. So D2 Hustlers very much going to have to be aware of, to a certain extent, the forced lack of efficiency on their part. They're already down by 2,000 net worth, so things have not been sort of playing out fantastically for them, but they don't really have too many options as alternatives right now. Yuma still has to farm his way towards the Battle Fury. You're about halfway there, and you're committed to it. There's really no bailing out of it now, so they have got to try and just weather the storm. As is he? Yeah, he might get jumped in on here. There's going to be the Ice Blast. Oh, wait a minute. Yep.
That was wild.
Moonmeander just sort of cleaning that one up a bit. Dubu was off the mark, but Rubik forces Yuma back into that radius, and that's just the two supports finding a kill onto the opposing carry at the 10-minute mark. That should not be happening, but D2 Hustlers don't really have anyone down there to support. Yuma, as you mentioned, was sort of just stuck in that lane for a while because of the lack of farm elsewhere on the map. So Undying take advantage of it. They get another kill, and it's a pretty big one.
Yeah, and Saberlight, we'll see if he's able to clean up these spiders, but that is the issue. You look at the supports on the Undying side, they've had fantastic starts to sort of play around their teammates, whereas Pandago, the Abaddon, even if he was sitting behind Yuma there, ooh, Devi might still have Saberlight. It's a little bit hard, though.
He's got some
Tango's
wand
definitely good versus
charges.
this.
Maybe he can live. No, Hex comes through, but there's going to be Moon Meander coming in. The Ice Blast will connect as well. As 1437 goes down, Devi Lama, though, is able to sort of limp himself out of this one as he will be making it back home, but well, at least you turn that into a trade-off, but that's core for support in D2 Hustler's favor. So I think they're going to be okay with that one, especially considering the Brood can just sort of fall back and continue to farm. Just about done with that pipe on the Brood Mother early on here.
Yeah, and the pipe's going to be so crucial. Without it, they just have so much burst damage on the Undying side. If you can survive through it, sort of live through those Ice Blast ticks, then you can 100% turn. You have the Abaddon, you have that insatiable hunger, you do get to heal for a lot. But yeah, again, it just feels like now all of the space is going not on your core heroes. And while this is pretty annoying for Undying to deal with, the spider is always going to be a thorn in their side. Up until she gets really active, they can really sit one hero up there to deal with it, whether or not Saberlight is sort of on spider duty. And
Oh,
we
they
saw he
want
did get punished
Tomato.
before. Oh, yeah.
The smoke play gets him
They
all the
got
way
him.
down. They trap him up inside of the wards. Viper Strike going to be applied as well, and at this point, Tomato, he's just not going to be able to get out. The song was available, but never got the chance to pop it. So D2 Hustlers responding with probably the single most valuable kill they could have gotten there. Maybe the Morphling would have been worth a little bit more, but that is absolutely fantastic for them. The problem is, it is going to come at a cost. They've lost the Tier 1 tower. Pandago's at least able to dodge out that Ice Blast, so he won't be taken down there, but I mean, you kill off the Naga Siren. You take Tomato off the map for a little while. That is going to be incredibly valuable for them, as Yuma will continue working his way towards that Battle Fury. And once he picks that up, maybe we see him climb his way up this net worth a little bit. He's the lowest net worth core right now, but that should change relatively soon as Devi. Well, he's getting hit up by Saberlight here, but he doesn't quite have the same degree of maneuverability as the Spider. So Devi's just able to sort of get himself up and down those cliffs, and he should be just fine.
Yeah, the bigger issue I think right now for D2 Hustlers is that you do have this almost completely done Blade. You're going to be able to find those easy pops. You have even more magic damage coming out from Bryle. His game has still been unaffected by anyone on the map. And if Devi can't get a lot done, I'm surprised we're not seeing him shift over towards that mid lane, sort of move his webs up a little bit, because now you are going to start to fall behind a little bit. Oh, Papa Tootie.
Gonna get jumped in on. Ice Blast will connect. Telekinesis is there for the lockdown, and there's no way. Papa Tootie gets taken down. Moon Meander took the Nether Toxin there at the end as well. Only 1 point up in it, but it is going to be useful for the Rubik to be able to hang on to. So, off the back of that kill, they're now looking to sort of make their way mid. Pandago's the only one here, but maybe they could get it onto him. Tomato, though, he's just going to grab the rune and sort of go back to farming. Not looking to get too aggressive at this stage, but in terms of aggression, we do see Saberlight and Devi sort of going at each other once again in this top lane. They're really making multiple attempts at each other here, but Saberlight is the one who may have to be careful. 1437's rotating his way in, and if this turns into a 2v1 for D2 Hustlers, they may have the advantage they need to find the kill.
And I think once Dubu spots out Pandago, then Saberlight, yeah, the call to be careful is there. It's pretty obvious when you have this Naga Siren. One of the biggest benefits is you just constantly have that vision on the enemy side of the map. You get to see how they're reacting, how they're playing, who's showing up in Yuma. Ooh, they didn't know about him. They can't get him because the blur is still active, but that would have been close.
Tomato's still kind of closing in on him, though, but at this point, I think he does now see Pandago, so feeling like that might be a little bit too far forward for him to dive, and not 100% sure he really would have had the damage to secure that kill anyway, so he will back off as 1437. Okay, hacks into trap there, and Jibu will be taken down, but now here comes the Morphling in with that E-Blade onto Devi Lama. They do chunk him down pretty significantly, but not enough for the kill just yet. Saberlight, though, going in, looking for the Swashbuckle into that Rolling Thunder, as Moon Meander was hit up by the Shackles, but he is going to be sort of released from that lockdown with the play. Papa Tootie goes down, 1437 dead as well. Now Pandago, once this ult wears off, yeah, he's not making it out either. E-Blade hit comes in again. Bryle able to find the kill as he grabs the double, and Undying, they will be able to take that one as Tomato's jumping in. No. Or was jumping in.
Papa Tootie. He just stepped out a little bit too far and didn't respect the Naga Siren. He didn't even song set up. He just got netted and killed. That is really big mistake.
Hmm.
Because now you have both these waves in. That feels awful.
Papatuti, we talked about him already sort of having a bit of a rough start, but that's kind of on a whole nother level, just getting picked off like that. So some further concerns for the D2 Hustlers side. That net worth deficit sort of continues to climb up here. We see it cracking the 5K mark just 16 minutes in. So this has been a rather sort of methodical increase for that Undying side so far, but well, we do see Hustlers making a bit of a move here.
Oh, they're breaking on each
That's a
other.
lot of wards. I think they just
Oh,
put down
what?
3 sentries and then a pause comes in.
And Moon, he has a Viper staring him into the face. Pendago should be able to purge it off immediately, but a very adept voice line there. I don't even know why the pause happened, but okay.
We're back into it. So yeah, we'll never know. It'll remain a mystery till the end of time, as Papatuti already dead. Pandago not able to sort of save his teammate there as he dropped the Aphotic Shield and it didn't help, and now all 3 of those sentries will be taken away. Actually, okay, one of them was an Obs Ward, excuse me. But 2 sentries and an Obs Ward taken away in addition to that kill onto the Viper. And that one just goes pretty horribly. And now Devi, gotta be careful here. Tomato's gonna hit him up with the Ensnare. Moon was trying to get in there, but okay, he does still get the telekinesis off, and
no.
Devi, ooh, wasn't ready for that. Bryle comes in with that sort of shotgun combo waveform into E-Blade. With the Adaptive Strike on top of it, there's just no getting away from that.
And right into Roche, you have a Vlad's on Pango, you have this Morphling, you have, honestly, the 2 best cores in the game versus that hero besides maybe Ursa, and it's just dead. You also gave over the Aphotic Shield to Moon Meander, so now all of that defensive capability is on the Rubik. You're able to purge off so many spells. He has that second save now, so he's just going to be able to save everyone. And now, Aegis on the Morphling that's already had an absolutely fantastic start. This game is starting to get very concerning for D2 Hustlers, and because of how their sort of early game went, it really feels like they don't have a shot. They have to go to that 30-35 minute mark. They have to wait. Yuma doesn't even have the works of a BKB yet. I don't think he's even going for it. He doesn't have very much farm at all, to be honest. Sort of in part because he doesn't have a jungle. He doesn't have that other side of the map to rely on. He's just been sitting versus this Naga Siren pretty much the whole time, and this is starting to get very concerning for Hustlers.
Yeah, they are rapidly sort of running out of space on the map, and now going up against Bryle, this is a hero that you have yet to kill a single time in this game, and in order to win the next teamfight, you're going to have to get through him twice with that Aegis in his hands. So it's a tall order for D2 Hustlers, and one that I'm not really sure that they're going to be able to sort of pull off, at least not the way that they've been going so far. Papatuti, though, going to try and get onto Tomato. Hits him up with a Viper Strike, and that is going to push Tomato back, but now Devi's going to get caught out mid. Yeah, the rest of Undying go in for the kill. They're going to be able to take that Spider down. Now we see them sort of looking to get the angle to maybe cut Papatuti off here as the Viper is on the run. He's going to get hit up by the Lucky Shot. Saberlight coming in with the Rolling Thunder. Papatuti, if he gets hit once, yeah, there it is. He's dead. Saberlight gets the kill, and that goes pretty horribly for the side of D2 Hustlers. Now the rest of the lineup just has to run. Yuma's got to get as far away from this bottom lane as he can.
And you see right now, the Shaman's not able to make plays. He's really only been able to get 1 or 2 kills going for his team. You had that one play bottom where they were able to find the Naga Siren, but aside from that, right now, they're just playing in 3 lanes. The Naga Siren goes bottom, pushes us in, nobody wants to be here. With the Viper dead, he knows he's in really no danger, and he's just hunting. He's looking for heroes, because they can't do anything about him. And, oh boy, they're all TPing in. Brow's already here.
Yuma, I mean, good luck. He's going to try to make it out, but he is immediately blown up. 1437. Well, I mean, he's trying. He drops down the Serpent Wards, but at that point, it's really not going to do enough. Yuma and 1437 both fall, and all of those wards get cleaned up by Undying as well. So even more gold sort of being thrown into their pockets, and, I mean, this is already starting to look rough. We're coming up on the 20-minute mark. It's an 11k lead for Undying, and they do still seem to have every last bit of momentum on their side. D2 Hustlers just really have to play the long con here. They have to try and draw this one out as best as they can.
And what a, honestly, beautiful feign coming out from them, where they showed one hero top, they showed one hero mid, they got a little bit sort of greedy, showing bottom really in any capacity, and Tomato makes the read. He's able to find him, and now you have a full Lincoln Sphere on this Morphling. At least he doesn't have TP, so this might be a situation where they can take the fight top, but Papatuti's already gone in.
And Tubu does get taken down, but Tomato is able to catch up Papatuti on the other side. Now Devi in some trouble as well. He's going to get hit up by the telekinesis into the stolen shackles. Yeah, there's Very few ways for the Brood to get away. He's just going to try and outrun this, though, and maybe he can make it. All the way up into that sort of north side jungle. He's holding on to that TP scroll, so he could just look for it right now. That's exactly what he's going to do, TPing all the way back to the base. But even with the Broodmother getting away, you still lost Papatootie again. That's core for support in Undying's favor.
And you have Boots of Travel up on this Rubik. Moon Meander is having such a good game. He has so much farm. And, oh, another one falls prey to Bryle. He's just always sitting on these high grounds, always in these good positions, finding these picks. And while you are giving a little bit of space to Yuma, you have the Naga Illusions coming in. They're going to cut the wave. They're going to stop any split push play, any pressure that Yuma could put out on the map, while all of your teammates are sort of getting taken down mid.
Yeah, Pandago already dead. Bryle, got to be a little bit careful managing these stats here, and it looks like he is eventually going to back himself out. But, okay, there we go. Going to save himself with the E-Blade. Now Papatootie going to get hit up by that telekinesis into the shackles again, and I mean, it's just textbook, really, here from Undying. Every time they send in the Morphling, they back him off bit by bit. Papatootie really doesn't realize he's being drawn into the trap until it's too late, and he's already stuck in the middle of it. As Devi, gonna get hit up here as well, but good Hex in from 1437. Not able to turn it around as that attribute shifting was already coming into play, but at least you'll be able to keep the Broodmother back, and you do, I suppose, prevent Undying from going for the high ground, but right now they're taking everything else. Tier 2 tower, mid, and top were both finished off immediately after that fight.
And now they take all the objectives. They say, hey guys, we're out. We're doing great. This is pretty fun. We're going to force this PA out of her own jungle. If Moon Meander was just one tick forward, that would have been Yuma's death. And still forcing the PA back into the base is pretty much the worst case scenario. If Yuma's not able to get out on the map, finish off this BKB, it's not going to be a game for him. He's not able to find these fights. He's not able to get in on that backline without having to worry about the telekinesis or that rolling thunder. And ooh, the server, it's churning whenever that swash lands onto those spiders. But Devi has also slowed down incredibly. We aren't seeing that, 17, 18-minute Greaves pipes that we saw in his previous Broodmother games. Everything is sort of grinding to a halt on the Hustler side.
And now we see Devi sort of going for an emergency shift, so to speak, in terms of the build here. The pipe was completed, but the Greaves just straight up aren't being worked on. He's looking for BKB and AC as his items, as he's going to get jumped in on. Can they finish him off here? He's, well, yeah, relatively tanky, but not nearly enough. As Devi gets taken down, Yuma gets picked off there as well outside of the base, and now Saberlight just sort of rolling forward a little bit to try and keep these heroes back, but they recognize the opportunity. They're going to push in. Holy crap, Ryle. That's just disgusting,
yep.
Yeah.
He just hit, or not even just hit, but had the level 20 talent waveform attacks targets. Ooh, they pop him on the high ground. He's just gonna go in and try to kill everyone. Yeah, Bryle, what a man. I mean, perfect play. He just owned pretty much everyone. He destroyed his lane, he destroyed the side lanes, he destroyed everything. Just an outstanding performance.
25 kills in 23.5 minutes there for the Undying side, as they just come out and they make a statement. You know, we just beat this team 2 days ago at the end of the group stage, and we're going to do it again, basically. That is an absolutely dominant performance from them, and I don't know, if you're D2 Hustlers, that really just felt like they lost control so fast. Really, from the very outset of that laning stage, they were struggling, and it started with Papatootie in that middle lane. Bryle just got the better of him, and that momentum just kept on building up.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if Papatootie just wasn't comfortable on that type of Viper. I saw he had the corrosive skin level 1. He was just doing basic Viper things. He should have really had a better time. Bryle should have had a much worse time, is a better way to put it. Viper should just have sort of borderline, you get what you want, you get your levels, you get to make those rotations, you get to do everything you can. But instead, we just saw Papatootie continue to struggle. He ended the game 0-8-1. And really, it was just that one kill bottom where there was 4 heroes on Tomato, so they really could not leverage the hero in any meaningful way. And while you have that draft advantage when you do end up first picking that Viper, I think if you're D2 Hustlers, maybe you try to switch things up. Try to get Papatootie on his Wind, on his Invoker. Hope that they let it through. They need something else. They need him to be on one of those more key heroes, because this was just not the performance they needed.
Mm-hmm. It's a similar sort of scenario that I think we've seen a lot from Alone over on that Ego Boys roster, where you really need to put him on not always a mobile hero, but at least one that can be sort of active. Papatootie on the Viper here really just didn't get it done for them, and They are going to have to look to maybe activate him a little bit earlier and better in game 2. So some adjustments presumably going to need to be made by D2 Hustlers. They get absolutely stomped here in game 1, but it is a full best of 3, so they're going to have at least one more shot at trying to sort of pull this one back. We'll see what they do to sort of shift things up heading into that game 2 matchup. So for now, we will be jumping into a bit of a break, but when we return, we'll see if D2 Hustlers can tie this one up at 1-1 and push us to that full 3-game series, or if Undying are going to be able to clean sweep their first playoff series in this event.